Good evening, and welcome back to the Archive of Truth. Welcome to News Around. In the world of celebrity, we are often guilty of admiring the mask while ignoring the person wearing it. We see the red carpet gowns, the perfect lighting, and the scripted smiles, and we assume that the life behind the image is just as flawless. But for months, perhaps even longer, Mahassine Merabet has been carrying a weight that the cameras couldn't capture. She was scrutinized, dissected, and admired, yet deeply misunderstood. She wore the scrutiny like a silent cloak, drifting further and further away from her true self with every headline that was written about her. We thought we knew her. We were wrong. And then, in a moment of disarming honesty that has turned the tide of public opinion, the mask fell. In a conversation that felt less like a promotional interview and more like a midnight confession to a trusted friend, Mahassine spoke the words that have roared across social media: "He made me myself again." Today, we are analyzing this profound revelation. We are looking at how Cenk Toran became not just a partner, but a sanctuary. We are exploring the crushing pressure of perfection that nearly broke her, and the quiet, radical love that put the pieces back together. This is not just a love story, it is a testament to emotional rescue. Before we dive into this journey of recovery, I have a request for our loyal community. If you value journalism that treats the human heart with the respect it deserves, please make sure you are subscribed to News Around. And for those who wish to be the pillars of our channel, the guardians of these stories, I invite you to click the join button right next to the subscribe icon. Your membership allows us to tell these stories with the depth they deserve. Now, let us listen to Mahassine's truth. To understand the magnitude of her confession, we must first understand the darkness that preceded it. For a long time, Mahassine Merabet existed in a state of hypervisibility and internal invisibility. Every expression she showed in public was analyzed for hidden meaning. Every quiet exit from a set was spun into a narrative of drama or diva behavior. She was living in an echo chamber of speculation, where the public's perception of her was becoming a stranger to the woman looking back in the mirror. She admitted, with a candor that stunned even her most devoted followers, that the relentless rhythm of her schedule had slowly pushed her to a breaking point. We often forget that living the dream can sometimes feel like a nightmare of exhaustion. Mahassine felt trapped in a cycle of perfection and performance. She was walking into each new project on empty, pouring from a cup that had run dry, and returning home even more drained than before. She described a limbo of exhaustion, a terrifying place where the world moves at hyperspeed, but your spirit stands still. She was maintaining an image, flawless, tireless, untouchable. "People want you to sparkle," she said without bitterness, "and sometimes the only thing you want is to be allowed to be still." In that limbo, meeting Cenk Toran marked a radical shift. He didn't arrive with fanfare or grand gestures. He didn't try to fix her with expensive gifts or public declarations. He arrived with something far more valuable: presence. "The colors sharpened again," she described. It is a poetic way of saying that she woke up. Laughter, real, unforced, belly-deep laughter, returned to her voice. She remembered what it was like to feel at home in her own skin, rather than just renting space in a celebrity persona. And then she offered something even more intimate, a clarification that separates this story from the typical tabloid romance. She insisted that this connection was never just about romance in the cinematic sense. It was a practice. It was a partnership built brick by brick on patience, genuine listening, and loyalty during the kinds of nights that never show up in glossy interviews. There are people whose quiet company steadies your breathing and reminds you of who you are underneath the noise, she reflected. Cenk became that person for me. The most poignant part of her revelation concerns the nature of strength. In an industry that demands resilience at all costs, Cenk offered her a different option. At the moment when the facade threatened to crack, when the pressure to be the perfect star became too much, Cenk did not tell her to stay strong. He did not demand resilience. He told her she didn't need it, not with him. The relief in that statement is something only those who have lived through high-functioning anxiety can truly understand. It is the difference between bracing yourself for the day like a soldier going to war, and leaning into it with 2 feet on the ground. With him, she said, she didn't have to pretend. She could be tired. She could be messy. She could be human. This radical acceptance remapped her interior world. I want to pause here and ask you, the empathetic viewers of News Around, have you ever found someone who allowed you to put down your armor? How important is it to have a partner who sees the messy side of you and stays? Share your experiences in the comments below. When the topic turned to their lifestyle, Mahassine shattered the illusion of the power couple chasing spotlights. They prefer the kind of simple that is difficult to fake because it requires genuine connection. We like sharing the silence more than getting lost in the crowd, she admitted. Their life together is defined by morning coffee without phones, walks without a plan, and music played softly in rooms where no one else is listening. These moments, she explained, have a way of knitting two people together without fanfare. In a world that screams for attention, their silence is a rebellion. It is a statement that their relationship exists for them, not for the audience. They learned to trust the long view, to let untrue stories burn themselves out without feeding the fire. Silence became their unlikely ally. It didn't mean indifference, it meant choosing the relationship over the spectacle. But this was not just a story of comfort, it was a story of challenge. Mahassine revealed that the hardest truths came later. This bond didn't simply comfort her, it held up a mirror. Being with Cenk allowed her to see the parts of herself she had avoided in the rush of expectation. She doesn't claim it was easy. Accepting your flaws isn't the same as excusing them. But with him, she felt safe enough to tell the truth about every bruise, every fear, and every insecurity. That radical acceptance, the kind that sees you whole and refuses to flinch, is what allowed her to grow. The relationship taught her patience, not the passive kind, but the brave kind that keeps showing up when things are hard. It taught her to live inside the present, not sprint past it toward the next career milestone. The public reaction to these words was immediate and overwhelming. The phrase "he made me myself again" took on a life of its own. It stopped being a romantic cliché and became a declaration of recovery. It spoke to anyone who has ever lost their footing and found it again through a love that asks nothing and gives everything. Younger fans, especially, responded with profound gratitude. To them, Mahassine stopped being just a polished presence on screens, she became a woman willing to own her path and the messiness that comes with it. She didn't sugarcoat the past. She clarified that those difficult chapters didn't disappear, they gave value to the happiness she is learning to protect. Every relationship teaches you something, she said, and with the right person, the lessons don't feel like punishment. They feel like growth. Perhaps the most striking transformation is in her ambition. With Cenk, she feels simpler, she shared not smaller, but clearer. The priorities she once arranged around appearances and momentum have shifted. Inner peace now sits where ambition once clung too tightly. She still loves the work, and she is not apologizing for her drive, she has simply changed the rules for herself. The hours they spend together are not rewards for survival, they are sources of inspiration that illuminate everything else. As careers collide with daily life, scripts to memorize, sets that call before dawn, commitments that pile up like unpaid bills, she finds the frenzy more manageable with Cenk by her side. They complement one another almost without thinking, handing off strength and softness as the moment demands it. As we conclude this deep dive, we are left with a new understanding of Mahassine Merabet. She did not stage a confession for PR points. She simply let people see the transformation that guided her from uncertainty toward steadiness. Alongside Cenk Toran, she feels more complete. Not because he filled a gap, but because he helped her recover the parts she once set aside to get through the day. A relationship, she believes now, is a practice of understanding. It is structure and softness, empathy and honest reflection. And it is this daily work that has rebuilt her from the inside out. Mahassine Merabet is back. But she isn't the woman we thought we knew. She is herself again. And that is the most beautiful role she has ever played. Thank you for traveling this emotional road with us today. What do you think about Mahassine's new perspective on life and love? Do you believe that love can heal the parts of us we thought were lost? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Please, do not forget to like this video if you appreciated the depth of this story. Subscribe to News Around so you never miss an update on your favorite stars. And a massive, heartfelt thank you to our Join members. You are the reason we can keep telling these stories. Until next time, find the person who makes you yourself again. Goodbye.